Season 4, Episode 4 of Westworld, titled Generation Loss, was quite an eventful episode, revealing that instead of a multi-timeline twist like in previous seasons, everything was actually taking place in the same timeline? What? Here's a breakdown of everything you need to know about Charlotte's plan, Caleb's death, Caleb's daughter, what's up with Christina, and more. We'll pick up where episode 3 left off, with Caleb being infected by Charlotte's mind control flies. He and Maeve manage to escape the park with a kidnapped Charlotte, but Caleb is seriously injured and bleeding out. Charlotte's man in black host pursues them and fights Maeve, and Charlotte tries to use her new mind control powers to turn Caleb against Maeve. But Caleb manages to resist Charlotte's mind control, likely thanks to his oral drip implant that Maeve had previously used to give him a peaceful vision during a prior close brush with death. Ultimately, Maeve ends up sacrificing herself to blow up the man in black. And that's when it's revealed that Caleb was then murdered by Charlotte's team. Charlotte then restarted an old Delos experiment to place human consciousness in a host body as a form of immortality. Back in Season 2, we watched as the Delos company tried to place its founder James Delos' consciousness in a host body, but they could never achieve fidelity, meaning they could never perfectly recreate the real mind of the original human. James Delos' son-in-law William, aka the Man in Black, gave up and shut down the experiment after decades of failed attempts. Now, it appears that after 23 years and nearly 300 attempts, Charlotte has achieved fidelity on the host version of Caleb, meaning everything we've seen of Caleb and Maeve this season was all a part of Caleb's memories on his path toward fidelity. Charlotte also explains to Caleb that her attempt to use the flies to control all humans was only a semi-success, as adults resisted the mind control. And so Charlotte used the flies to enslave children, and 23 years later, those now mind-controlled adults all lived in Charlotte's new future park, controlled by a mysterious tower that only hosts and older humans could see. For example, that older homeless man from episode 2 who tries to warn people about a tower they can't see. Because this man would have been an adult 23 years ago, the mind control flies didn't work on him, meaning he could still see the tower. So what does this mean for Dolores lookalike Christina? Well, it would appear that Charlotte has created a twisted inverse of the human-host relationship of the Westworld parks. Now, humans were the mind-controlled beings living out pre-written storylines for the hosts to interact with. In the Season 4 premiere, a group of tourists enter the city and marvel at its sights. This echoes back to how guests marveled at the sights of Westworld upon first entering the park. But while guests of Westworld were humans interacting with hosts, the guests of this new future world were hosts interacting with humans. Hosts like Christina write the storylines of the humans' lives, although she is unaware that her writing is having such a tangible impact. How does the reappearance of Teddy play into things? Well, Teddy's goal seems to be to draw out Dolores' memories from Christina, but to what end? Could he be a trick by Charlotte as an attempt to run a fidelity test on a host? Or maybe Bernard pulled Teddy from the Sublime to help reawaken Dolores' memories to join his cause. Although Season 4 Episode 4 revealed a lot of answers, the true nature of Christina is one we'll still have to wait to fully uncover. And that brings us to Bernard, who spent 23 years in the Sublime, giving him the power to see infinite futures and outcomes. Using this knowledge, Bernard is attempting to set in motion the events necessary to prevent the destruction of all of mankind. He and Stubbs team up with a human rebel group, who have all avoided being infected by Charlotte's mind control flies. The group of rebels split up, with Stubbs going with the group's leader Jay to save a female outlier. In Season 3, outliers were the name given to the humans who posed a threat to the AI Rehoboam's master plan. Rehoboam's founder Sirach hunted down these outliers and imprisoned them in a cryogenic sleep. One of those outliers you might recall was Caleb, who was brainwashed to work for Sirach and hunt down other outliers, before being reprogrammed and set to live a dead-end life. But that was 23 years ago, and this is now. Are outliers humans who have resisted Charlotte's mind control, or could hosts be considered outliers? Either way, it certainly seems likely that Stubbs, Jay, and the rebels will most likely be attempting to extract Christina from the city. And if the all-seeing Bernard was prepared for this extraction, it certainly seems like sending Teddy to help out would be a great benefit to their plan. Meanwhile, Bernard takes C, revealed to be Caleb's now adult daughter Frankie, to the site of Maeve and Caleb's deaths. Bernard promised to deliver the rebels a weapon to use against their oppressors, and it turns out that that weapon was in fact the long-buried Maeve. So to recap, we're now 23 years in the future. Caleb was killed by Charlotte's men, but his consciousness was successfully placed inside a host body that was currently imprisoned in a future city. Most of the inhabitants of that city are humans that have been unknowingly enslaved since childhood by Charlotte's army of parasitic flies. Dolores lookalike Christina is writing the storylines that these mind-controlled humans live out. Bernard can see the future and is attempting to ensure mankind's survival by teaming up with Maeve and a group of human rebels to defeat Charlotte and achieve true freedom for all. Let me know your thoughts and theories for the rest of the season in the comments below. Like this video if you found it helpful, subscribe to this channel for more content like it, and that does it for me in this video, but I'll see you in the next one.